feel free to start to set yourselves up. Just fix my screen. And all right. There we go. Okay. All right. So happy Thursday yet again, everyone. If you're not already in the shape that you want to start in, go ahead and start to make your way into that shape. And again, going back to me not being able to see you, I know I always give suggestions because, as you know by now, it's up to you. So when I teach classes in person, I know I have one woman that always starts sitting up, everyone else lies down. So it's up to you. Go ahead and find that spot that feels comfortable for you. Traditionally, it's lying on your back, but does not have to be. The important thing is that you're finding a place that feels comfortable for you and allows you to start to create a little bit of space from your day, space from shoveling or working or whatever it was that you were doing just a few moments ago. Chance to kind of press pause. So go ahead and press that pause button in your mind, maybe physically press that button if that helps you. Let your eyes close. Let your breath start to get a little deeper, a little fuller, a little slower. And we'll just take these next few moments before we start to move to really just enjoy the stillness. Sometimes for some people, this is the best part of the class because you might not get a lot of chances during the day to stop and slow down and just do nothing. So if that's you and this is the best part for you, really embrace it, savor it, enjoy it. Wherever you are, we're going to take this next moment to set that intention for yourself. So starting to think about what it is you're going to focus on today in this class, maybe beyond this class, finding balance, challenging yourself, growing. If we try something that's a little more challenging today and it doesn't feel accessible today, maybe that intention is that you're continually getting better or continually improving or trying or something along those lines, so that it's okay to not be where you want to be yet, but that you are working towards that. So once you have your intention set, we'll start to find that full body stretch. So reaching the arms overhead, straightening out the legs if they were bent, just moving all the ways that feel good, wrists, ankles, rocking from side to side. If you're not on your back already, you can slowly lower yourself down onto your back. And then after you take that full body stretch, we're going to start to draw the knees in towards us, wrapping our arms around our shins as you give yourself a little hug, and are rocking from side to side, gently pressing that spine down into the mat, making circles with your knees. And then let's place both feet on the mat, keeping your knees bent, extending that right leg. We're just going to start to raise and lower that right leg. So stretching out the back of the leg, pointing the toe as you lift it up, flexing as you draw it back down. Just take a couple more rounds like this. And then the next time you lift the leg, bring your hands behind the leg, start to draw the leg towards you, massaging the back of the leg and just kind of doing whatever feels good to warm up that leg. So bending and straightening the knee is always an option. Rolling out the ankle or kind of massaging the muscles a little bit. Even walking your hands up the leg and sort of drawing your nose towards your knee. I think I've said this before, but if you have any sort of strap or even just a rope or a tie at home and you prefer to wrap that around your foot and kind of use the strap to draw the leg towards you, that's a great way to use a yoga strap or any kind of strap. And then we're just going to slowly place that right foot back down on the mat. You can bend the knee, extend the left leg, and same thing, start to raise and lower that left leg. A couple of times, just starting to warm up through the hip and the back of the leg. And then the next time the leg lifts, your hands will come behind that left leg as you start to draw the leg towards you. Again, just slowly, I don't even want to say pulling because pulling sounds harsh, but drawing the leg towards you. So maybe you take a breath and then slowly draw it in a little more, and then take a breath and bring it a little closer. Massaging the back of the leg, rolling out the ankle, bending and straightening the knee. And then again, slowly placing that left foot down on the mat. We're going to draw both knees in towards us. Wrap your hands behind your thighs. As you tuck your chin into your chest, we'll start to find that little rocking movement until you come all the way up to a seated position. So a couple rocks, or just come right on up to a seat with your legs crossed, your hands on your knees. Always taking a moment here to just kind of settle in. And I know I always say that, but it's important because you might notice that when you first sit up, you're kind of rounding your back a little bit or hunching your shoulders. But if you really start to sit up, you might notice that you grow an inch or two. All of a sudden, the back gets a lot longer, spine gets a little straighter. And then we're going to start to circle the upper body. So bringing your hands to your knees, bringing the chest towards the ground, and then take a couple rounds, circling in one direction, and then circling back in the other direction. Maybe pausing for a moment. It feels good. And then starting to make your way back through center, sitting all the way up on the next inhale. Reach your arms up overhead. As you exhale, your left hand comes to the mat. Take that side stretch, reaching to the left, being really long on the right side of the body, looking under that right arm, pressing down through the hip. And then on the next inhale, lift it all the way up. Relax the shoulders and take it over to the right. Right hand comes down, left fingertips are reaching. Almost imagining someone is kind of taking your hand and pulling it away from you, so it's deepening that stretch even more. And then on the inhale, coming back up through center. This time as you exhale, fold it forward, walking the hands away from the body, slowly lowering yourself down. This is another good one to kind of take it step by step. So take a couple of breaths here, and then maybe the hands walk a little bit further away from you. And then again, take a breath. Hands walk a little bit further away from you until eventually you're at the point that feels comfortable but challenging. Maybe not challenging, but like that feels like enough. It feels like that's where you need to be and you don't need to go any further. And then slowly starting to walk your hands back towards you. And as you sit up, you're going to start to find your way into a tabletop position. So coming onto your hands and knees, bringing your wrists below your shoulders, your knees below your hips, nice flat back. We'll take a couple rounds of cat and cow to warm up that spine and that core. So as you inhale, the stomach releases down, the gaze goes up. As you exhale, the back rounds, the ground presses away from you. A couple more times just like that. Think about that fluid spine moving like a snake or a wave. When you think about it, it starts to happen. So even if you're like, that's definitely not what my spine is doing, visualize that, imagine that, and then it'll start to become like that. Always adding on. If you like to move your hips, move your head, side to side movements. And then as you come back through center, we're going to extend the right leg, keeping those toes tucked first, and just gently starting to press yourself forwards and backwards, pressing the right heel behind you, and then using the toes to kind of propel yourself forward a little bit. So getting a stretch in the bottom of the foot and the back of the leg. Talking about winter, and we wear big boots and shoes on our feet. We don't often stretch our feet, so it's good to take a couple moments barefoot like this to really let your foot move and stretch. And then as you come back through center, let's lift that right leg up so that it's parallel to the ground. On the next inhale, the right knee is coming in towards the nose, around the back. Exhale, extend it long. Two more. Inhale, draw the knee in. Exhale, extend it long. One more time. Inhale, knee to nose. Exhale, extend it long. We're going to take a modified side plank. So the left foot slides off your mat like that little kickstand. And then the inner arch of the right foot comes down. And the right fingertips start to reach towards the top of the mat. So you're using the top of your left foot kind of to balance you a little bit. And then you're creating a really long line with the right side of the body. Inner arch of the right foot is pressing down. Right fingertips are reaching to the top of your mat. Your hips are pressing up. And then as we slowly close it off, come back to your tabletop position. Right knee comes down, right hand comes down. And we'll extend the left leg, tucking those toes, and start to press yourself forwards and backwards. Again, stretching out through the bottom of the foot and the back of the leg. And we'll start to raise that left leg, lifting it up off the mat. On the next inhale, the left knee comes to the nose, round your back. Exhale, extend it long. 2 more just like that. Inhale, knee to nose, round the back. Exhale, extend it long. Inhale, knee to nose. Exhale, extend it long. Take that right foot, slide it off your mat, making that kickstand at the top of the right foot. Inner arm till the left foot comes down, and then the left fingertips reach to the top of your mat. So again, long line with the left side of the body. Looking under that left arm as you press the hips up towards the sky. See if you can reach a little bit further. And then slowly closing it off, coming back to your tabletop position. Left hand comes down, left knee comes down. We'll start to, actually, let's just sit up for a minute. So you can either sit back on your feet if that feels comfortable. If that hurts your knees, you can kind of just be on your knees, but lift it a little bit. And I want you to extend your arms out in front of you and just start to roll out your wrists a little bit. We're making circles with the wrists, couple circles in one direction, couple circles in the other direction. And then take your right hand, extend it out in front of you, take your left fingertips and just draw the right fingertips towards you. So you're kind of using your left hand to draw the right fingers towards you. You should feel it on the bottom of your wrist. And then press the right fingertips down towards the mat. And you can take your left hand and just kind of press the top of that right hand. So we're warming up our wrists because we're going to be doing a little more on our wrists today. Whenever we're in our planks and down dogs, it's a lot on the wrist, so it's good to warm them up a little bit. Go ahead and take the left hand, point the fingertips towards the sky, and then you can use your right hand and just gently draw the left fingertips towards you. So it shouldn't be hurting, but you should feel a stretch under your wrist. And then go ahead and press the left fingertips down towards the ground, and you can gently press on the top of the left hand. And then go ahead and just shake them both out, kind of let all that go. And then we'll start to make our way into our first downward facing dog. So you can go ahead and bring those hands back to the mat, tuck your toes, straighten out your legs, and just take a couple moments here to settle in. You guys know by now that even if you've done down dogs 100 times, which you have at this point, after all these weeks of taking this class, you've done a lot of down dogs. But the first time you come into it, sometimes you can still feel a little awkward or stiff or tight. So it's good to move a little bit, lift your heels up and press them back down, bend your knees and straighten them, kind of settling in. From here, we're going to roll it out into a plank position. So drawing the shoulders over the wrists, tucking the tailbone under, maybe making some adjustments if you needed to slide the feet back a little bit. And then your knees are coming to the mat. Elbows hug in as you lower all the way onto your stomach. And then a little baby cobra by lifting the hands up off the mat and lifting up the shoulders and the chest. So a gentle back bend here. And this is the back bend you can take for the rest of the class if this feels good. Or as you start to warm up, maybe you'll start to add on a little bit. Go ahead and press your hands into the mat. And then we're just going to find a child's pose, pressing yourself up and back as you bring your hips to your heels, slowly settling into your child's pose. Taking about 2 or 3 breaths here. And if your fingertips weren't already at the top of your mat, start to walk them back out in front of you as we make our way back into a downward facing dog. Tucking your toes, straightening your legs, send your hips up and back. This time you're going to look towards your hands and just start to walk your feet to the top of the mat until you're in a forward fold. You can have your feet about 2 or 3 fists distance apart. So maybe it's about hips, maybe it's a little less, a little space in between your feet. And then just let yourself hang here, letting your upper body just kind of let go. So you're relaxing into this as best you can. Might not feel relaxing for everyone, but think about just sort of letting gravity do the work here. Having a little bend in the knees can help. Holding on to opposite elbows or behind your head. And then we're gonna slowly start to lift all the way up, reaching the arms overhead, coming to standing, maybe a little back bend if that feels comfortable. And then go ahead and bring your hands to heart center. Good. On the next inhale, we're gonna reach the arms back up overhead. As you exhale, dive it down, forward fold. We're gonna bring our hands to our shins and take a little halfway lift as you inhale. As you exhale, bring your hands back to the mat. We're gonna step it back to our downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, roll it out into your plank position. From your plank, your knees come down, lower yourself all the way onto your stomach. On the next inhale, you can take another baby cobra, or you can choose to press your hands into the mat and start to lift up a little bit. And then slowly, as you lower yourself back down, this time you're going to make your way back to your downward facing dog. So pressing your hips up and back, your toes tucked, your legs straighten as you find that downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. And then turning the gaze towards the hands, slowly starting to walk back towards the top of the mat. Hands come to shins as you inhale, lifting up halfway. As you exhale, fold. On the next inhale, lift it all the way up. Reach your arms up overhead. Hands come to heart and center. Good. So that whole little sequence we just did called a sun salutation. A lot of yoga classes incorporate them into the class, some more than others. So we're going to start doing a couple more of those throughout our practice. So on the next inhale, reach the arms back up overhead. This time, interlace your hands, press your palms up towards the sky. We'll start to take that side stretch. So take it over to the left side, like you're pressing your palms to the left, lengthening through the whole right side of the body as you look under that right arm. On the next inhale, come back up through center. As you exhale, take it over to the right. Roll the left shoulder open, press the right shoulder forward so that your shoulders are kind of squared off and you're not looking down towards the mat, but up towards the sky. On the next inhale, lift it up. As you exhale, big swan dive down, forward fold. So we're going to put a little bend in our knees so you can bring your hands to the mat. And then the left foot is going to step back to low lunge that we've been doing lately. So you're kind of stepping that foot all the way to the back of the mat, maybe in one giant step, maybe a couple smaller steps. And then the inner arch of the left foot is going to come down. We're coming into a warrior one. So you're kind of bringing that left foot down onto the mat. And then you're going to slowly start to lift up the upper body. So maybe bringing your hands to the knees first. As you begin to lift all the way up into your warrior one, your arms are coming up overhead. So now that you're up, rather than focusing on pressing down to the inner arch of the left foot, think about pressing down to the outer edge of the left foot. So kind of behind you, you're pressing down a little bit. That left hip is dialing forward, reaching the arms overhead as you look up towards your hands. Good. And then you're going to keep your legs where you are, but take your arms behind the body. So you're interlacing your hands kind of behind your tailbone, pressing your palms together, and then start to press your hands away from you. So you should feel an opening in the chest and kind of upper body. Looking up towards the sky, if that feels good, getting a nice stretch in the throat as well. Take a deep breath in. Think about puffing up the heart, puffing up the chest. And then we're going to start to lean it forward. Much as feels comfortable. So you can think about bringing the right shoulder towards the right knee, but it doesn't have to be all the way down there, whatever feels realistic. Keeping that right knee on top of the right ankle. And then you're going to release your hands and slowly bring them back down to frame out that right foot. Good. Spinning back to the ball of the left foot so you can lift that left heel up off the mat. And then we're going to step the right foot back to meet the left, coming to a downward facing dog. Good. From your downward facing dog, let's take that little flow again, rolling it out into a plank position. Knees come down. Lower yourself all the way onto your stomach. As you inhale, start to press it up, either baby cobra with the fingertips lifted or press the fingertips into the mat. And then as you lower yourself back down, make your way into your downward facing dog with the hips lifting, the knees straightening, the toes tucking, downward facing dog. Good. Turn your gaze towards the top of the mat, taking a bunch of steps or maybe one or two giant steps, start to walk back to the top of the mat. Hands come to shins for a little halfway lift as you inhale. As you exhale, fold. On the next inhale, lift it all the way up, reach the arms overhead. And hands come to heart center. Beautiful. Let's do that same little sequence on the other side. So as you inhale, the arms lift up. As you exhale, dive it down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then this time the right foot steps back. So we're coming back to that little low lunge, this time with the left foot forward. Eventually, we're lifting it up into our warrior one. So that back heel kind of grounds down a little bit, 45-degree angle with that back foot. And then once you're ready to start lifting up through the upper body, hands can come to that left knee to sort of assist you as you lift it up. That's a really challenging transition. So if you're struggling with that, that is normal and okay. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, I can't lift myself up. I can't do it, because you can do it. You're doing it. So getting into your warrior one, the shoulders relax, that right hip presses forward, that left hip dials back. See if you can bend into that left knee a little bit more. Outer edge of the right foot is pressing down now. And then we're going to start to bring those hands behind the back again. So this time you're going to try to interlace the opposite, or put the opposite thumb on top, which is usually the one that feels kind of awkward. Most likely on the other side, you did whatever felt natural. So for me, it's the left hand because I'm right-handed, so it feels weird to have the left thumb on top. Let's see if you can remember which one you did last time and do the opposite. If you can't, no big deal. Take a breath in, puff up the chest, lift up the heart, look up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, slowly start to lean it forward. That left shoulder is working its way towards the left knee. Top of the head is pressing forward. This is called humble warrior. And then go ahead and bring your hands to frame out that left foot. Spin to the ball of the right foot. And again, we'll step it back to our downward facing dog. That left foot comes to the back of the mat as you slowly find your downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, we're going to roll it forward into a plank position, bringing your knees down, slowly lowering yourself all the way onto your stomach. As you inhale, press it up, opening up through the heart and the front of the body. As you exhale back to your downward facing dog, your toes tuck, your hips go up, your legs straighten. And then we'll take a breath here. Turning so that you're looking towards the top of the mat. We'll start to walk it back to the top of the mat. Couple steps until your feet are right there near your hands. Halfway lift for space on an inhale. As you exhale, fold. On the next inhale, lift it all the way up. Reach the arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. On the next inhale, we're reaching it right back up. As we exhale, we're diving it down, forward fold. One more time, left foot is going to step to the back of your mat so that that right foot is forward. You're in another little low lunge or runner's lunge. This time, instead of lifting up to a warrior one, we're just going to lift up into a high lunge. So same thing as you did before, you can kind of bring your hands to your knee, start to lift it up. Good. It might help to straighten that right leg as you lift yourself up and then go ahead and rebend once you get up. That's fine. If that helps you come into that high lunge, go for it. So this time we have the back heel lifted rather than grounded like we did a moment ago. So from your high lunge, see if you can come into it a little deeper. Usually we can bend into that knee a little bit more. We're going to bring our arms to kind of bend your elbows and bring them out to the sides of your body. So like cactus arms or goalpost arms. And then you're going to bring your hands together right in front of your face. So your elbows are bent and your hands are together right in front of your face. Your right arm is going to go on top of your left. So you're kind of putting your right elbow in that left elbow crease. Backs of the hands are together. Or if this feels challenging, hold on to opposite shoulders and kind of give yourself a hug. So either way, backs of the hands together or give yourself a hug. Now that we've been here for a little while, take a breath in, kind of lift up through the upper body. And one more time, we're going to start to lean forward. Still bending into that right leg. Been bending for a while now. You should probably feel it burning. So you can go ahead and unravel the arms, bring your hands down to frame out that right foot. So you're back in your low lunge. Good. From that low lunge, the left hand is going to come down to the mat. Well, it's already on the mat, but it's going to stay on the mat. And your right hand is going to start to lift up for a twist. So we're opening up to the right side. Take your gaze towards that right hand as you look up towards the fingertips. And then slowly right hand comes back down to the mat. Let's lower down onto that left knee. That should feel good. We've been bending the right knee for a while. Untuck the left toes. And then we're just going to start to make our way into our crescent lunge by pressing the hips back, straightening the right leg, fold over the right leg. And then rebend the right knee, press it forward. We usually do this little warm up before we come into the pose. So go ahead and do a couple more rounds just like that. Pressing the hips back, folding over the right leg. If you have blocks at home and you like to use them, go ahead and bring your hands to blocks. Taking a couple more rounds just like this. And then the next time you come forward, we'll start to make our way into that crescent lunge. So you know the options by now. Hands can come to that right knee as you press those hips down, or your hands can start to reach up towards the sky, whichever you prefer. Wherever your hands are, look up towards the sky. So you're opening up through the front of the body, the heart, the chest, the throat. And then slowly bringing your hands back to frame out that right foot. Let's tuck the back toes, straighten that left leg so that it's lifted up off the mat. And I'm going to throw one more challenge at you guys. We are going to step the right foot back to a plank. So go ahead and find a plank position. We're going to come into a side plank. So you have two choices. You can either roll to the outer edge of the left foot and the inner edge of the right foot and take a full side plank. If this feels like a lot, bring that left knee down, just like we did at the beginning, and make that kind of kickstand with the left foot and find your side plank with the left knee down. Either option is totally available to you. So you're either bending that left knee or you have both legs straight. Good. And then we'll all come back to our traditional plank wherever you were with that one and press it back to a downward facing dog. Good. Take your gaze towards your hands and slowly start to walk your feet back towards the top of the mat. Little halfway lift for space as you inhale. As you exhale, fold. Next inhale brings you all the way back up. Reach the arms overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay. Other side. On the next inhale, reach it back up. Exhale, dive it down. Fingertips come to the mat so you can bend your knees a little bit if you need to get your hands there. And then that right foot is stepping back. The left leg is staying forward. So we're starting in a low lunge and then we're lifting it up to a high lunge. So once you feel stable with the lower half of the body and the legs and the feet, you'll start to lift it up. You can bring your hands to your knee and then gently lift yourself up. Again, maybe you straighten that left leg as you sort of settle yourself in, and then you rebend that left knee. That's fun. Totally an option. So we're in our high lunge now. The right heel is lifted. And then you're going to find those cactus arms or goalpost arms again, bending the elbows, extending your hands to either side of the body. And then bringing your hands together, elbows together, so that you're kind of bending your hands right in front of your face. Left elbow comes on top of the right arm this time. Same option as last time, either backs of the hands together or give yourself that little hug holding on to opposite shoulders. Whichever one you prefer, same idea. The idea is that we're kind of opening up through the upper back and the shoulders. You're sort of drawing the shoulders away from each other, creating that opening. So let's take an inhale and lift up. As you exhale, start to lean it forward. Okay. Again, I'm talking a lot, so we've been holding this for a while, this bend in the left knee. So go ahead and bring your hands down to the mat, framing out that left foot. Right hand grounds down, and then the left arm peels up. coming into that twist. Opening up through the left shoulder, take your gaze towards that left hand. Good. And then gently placing the left hand back down on the mat. Right knee comes down. That should feel really good. You should feel that relief in the left thigh a little bit. And then go ahead and press the hips back straight in the left leg as you fold over that left leg. And you'll just start to press yourselves forward and backwards, warming up through that hip, stretching the back of the leg, whatever feels good for you. Maybe that's moving, maybe it's staying still for a moment. And then the next time you come forward, press those hips forward, and we'll start to lift it up to that crescent lunge. So your hands can come to your knee as your upper body starts to lift, and then maybe you reach your arms overhead, or maybe they stay right there on the knee, whichever feels better. 2 more breaths here. And then gently bringing your hands back to frame out that left foot. We're going to straighten the right foot or right leg, tuck the right toes, and then come back to your plank position. So that left foot is stepping back to meet the right into a plank. And again, we're going to take that side plank. So you have 2 choices. Again, you can bring the right knee down, find a modified side plank, or keeping that right foot extended, you're on the outer edge of the right foot, the inner arch of the left foot. You decide. You can even do both. You can try it extended and then bring that right knee down once you need a little bit of a break. Either way, let's all come back to our regular plank. Press it back to your downward facing dog. And then from your down dog, find a child's pose. So your knees can come to the mat, your toes untuck, your hips start to settle in to the heels. Maybe you grab a sip of water. Whatever you need. Take the next 5 breaths or so to kind of slow down a little bit. Come back to that intention that you set. Kind of reset a little bit. Maybe slow your breath down if it started to become a little heavier. We'll take about 4 more breaths here. Again, if your hands are not at the top of the mat already, you can start to walk them back towards the top of the mat. And we'll slowly make our way back into a downward facing dog. So the hips lift up, the toes tuck, straighten the legs as you press your hips up and back. And then looking towards your hands, slowly start to walk it back to a forward fold at the top of your mat. You can take that little halfway lift if it feels good. Inhaling, lengthening the spine, exhaling, folding. And then on the next inhale, lift it all the way up, reach your arms overhead, and hands come to heart center. Good. All right, let's do a little bit of balancing. So as always, if you like to come near a wall, you can do that, or step off your mat. If the mat is kind of squishy, it can make it a little more challenging. So you decide what works for you. We're going to have our left foot is our standing foot to start. And then you're going to take your right knee, lifting it up, bending that right knee, and your hands are just going to interlace around the right leg. So you're kind of holding on to the right knee. And we're going to hold this for the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From here, right knee is going to come out to the right side of the body. You can kind of extend your left arm out to the side, or even press that left hand into a wall. For another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right knee comes back through center. Here's the really tricky part because you're probably burning by now. You're going to bring your hands to your hips. You're going to extend that right leg as high as you can. It might not be very high, and that's okay. For 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right foot comes to the ground. Shake it out. Shake out that left leg kind of twist your spine if that feels good, or maybe take a little forward fold. Take a breath. You need to put your foot down every few seconds. That's okay. Keep doing it. Keep lifting it back up again. And the more you practice it, the more that balance will come. That's the only way we can get more balance is by practicing it over and over again. And then it'll depend on the day. Maybe today is a good day, the next day is not a good day, balance-wise. So your right foot is going to be your standing leg this time. And then that left knee is going to start to come up, bending that left knee, relax the shoulders. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, the left knee comes out to the side. So the left hand is still holding the knee here. Your right hand can come out to the right side for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back through center. Hands come to hips. Straighten that left leg. Engage your core. Try to stand up straight for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left leg comes down. Shake it out again. Let it go. It can feel good to kind of swing your arms from either side or maybe forward fold it, kind of giving the back of the body a little break if they were, sometimes that lower back kind of tenses up when we balance. Okay, make your way back to the top of the mat. On the next inhale, on the next inhale, let's step the left foot to the back. We're not going to fold here. We're going to start to set up for a warrior 2. So the outer edge of that left foot is parallel to the back of your mat. Your right toes are facing forward. Inhale to lift your arms up. As you exhale, bend into that right knee. So if you drew a line from the right foot to the back, it would go right through the center of that left foot. The arms are parallel to the ground. You're looking forward at that front right middle finger. We're going to come from our warrior 2 into a peaceful triangle, which is straightening your right leg and reach the right arm overhead. That left arm can kind of rest softly on the back of your leg and the right fingertips reach up and back, making a really long line on the right side of the body. This is your inhale. As you exhale, come back to your warrior 2. We're going to do that about 3 or 4 times with your breath. Go ahead and move it with your breath. Inhale to that peaceful triangle, lengthening. Exhale back to your warrior 2. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, bend a little deeper. Again, moving at your rate. You don't have to stick with me unless you just happen to be at the same rate as me. Once you've done about 3 or 4, you're going to end back in that warrior 2. Taking your time and then settling back into that warrior 2 once you are done. From here, we'll straighten the right leg again. This time you're going to turn your right toes to face the side of your mat. Inhale as you lift the arms up. As you exhale, dive it down, wide-legged forward fold. As always, taking any movement that feels good here. So you can kind of rock it out from side to side. You can walk your hands to one leg and then the other leg. Do whatever feels good. Maybe what feels good is not moving at all. That's totally fine. You can hold on to opposite elbows and just kind of let yourself hang here like we do in a regular forward fold. And then slowly bringing your hands down to the mat, we're going to start to lift ourselves up. So you can bring your hands to your thighs and then just gently press all the way back up to standing. And we're just going to pivot that left foot so that it's facing the back of your mat and do that same thing on the left side. So inhale, lifting the arms up. Exhale, finding a warrior 2 facing the back of your mat this time. We'll start to take that little sequence. Feels like a dance to me, so we're kind of flowing. So as you inhale, peaceful triangle, straighten the left leg, reach the left arm up and back. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, warrior 2. Go ahead and do 2 or 3 more with your breath and move at a speed that feels good for you. Maybe it does feel like dancing. Maybe it's fun and playful. However you like to move through these next few breaths, do it. Once you've completed your 3 or 4, you'll end back in your warrior 2 again. Relaxing the shoulders. See if you can come a little deeper into your warrior 2. And then we'll straighten that left leg. Turn the left toes to face the side of the mat. One more time, wide-legged forward fold. Arms lift up as you inhale, and then as you exhale, fold it down. maybe doing the same thing you did on the other side, maybe finding another variation, walking the fingertips out in front of you or behind you. And then again, we'll slowly start to lift ourselves up by bringing your hands to the thighs, gently pressing yourself all the way back up. And then you can just kind of walk your feet back together until your feet are a normal distance apart. Kind of shake your legs out a little bit as you slowly start to make your way back to the top of your mat. From the top of your mat, we'll take a breath in, reach the arms up overhead. As you exhale, dive it down, forward fold. Inhale to prepare. As you exhale, step it back to a downward facing dog. As always, you can take a bunch of steps or just one giant step until you are in that downward facing dog. And then from here, we're going to come back to a tabletop, lowering the knees onto the mat, untucking your toes, find that nice flat back. And we are going to come into a puppy pose. So a puppy pose is your hips are staying over your knees, and you're just going to start to walk your hands away from you. So that you're kind of keeping that 90-degree angle with your legs. The upper body is starting to press down towards the ground. Maybe your chin is resting. That's a little deeper. If your chin is on the mat, that's a pretty deep stretch. Otherwise, maybe your forehead is coming down to the mat. You can also rest your head on a block or a pillow if you have one. The idea here is you're kind of stretching out the shoulders a little bit. And then from our puppy pose, we're going to come back onto our stomach. So you can slowly press yourself forward, adjust however you need to so that you're not rolling off your mat. I was starting to work my way off my mat at that point. So go ahead and readjust. And then you're going to take your left arm, place it at the top of your mat, kind of parallel to the top of your mat, so that you can rest your forehead on that left arm. You can go ahead and put your head on your arm. And then the right knee is going to bend. And you're going to reach your right hand back for the top of your right foot. So you're kind of drawing that right foot towards you. On the next breath, you're going to start to press the right foot away from you. Press the left hand into the mat. So you're lifting up through the upper body and pressing that right foot away from you. So we're getting a little back bend here. The more you press the right foot away from you, the more you'll start to kind of lift up the body. Good. We do this one a lot on our knees. I don't think I've done it from lying down in here. And then slowly go ahead and lower yourself down. You can let go of that right foot, place it back on the mat, and then the right hand will come in front of the body so that the forehead can start to rest on the right hand. Left hand starts to reach back for that left foot, bending the knee. And then again, when you're ready, left foot presses away from you as you start to lift up through the upper body. I'm kind of pressing my right hand into the mat to stabilize me, so that's okay. You can kind of use that right hand to sort of press up through the upper body and then also press the left foot away from you, and that'll sort of lift you up as well. And then again, slowly lower yourself all the way down. You can bring both feet to the mat. Just kind of take a break. You can bring your right chin to the mat. Kind of take a breath. And then we're going to add on a little bit more. So bringing your hands to the sides of your body, either putting your chin or your forehead on your mat, whichever feels more comfortable. You're going to bend both knees. Bring your hands to the bottoms of both feet. So we're doing both sides at one time now. And then on the next inhale, press the hands away from you. Start to lift up through the upper body. So you're probably not lifting as high as you did when you only did one side at a time, but that's okay. This is our back bend. Usually we do bridges, but this time we're coming at it from a different angle. So think about opening up through the back of the body, bending and lengthening that spine. And then slowly lower yourself down. You can release your hands, but keep the knees bent. And just kind of let your feet rock from side to side, kind of like little windshield wipers. So you can bring your right cheek or maybe your left cheek this time to the mat and just kind of relax, let those feet sort of do whatever feels comfortable. And then eventually letting the feet come all the way back down to the mat. From here, we're just going to turn over onto our backs right here. So you can kind of just roll over, adjust so that you're not rolling off your mat, but just start to make your way onto your back from right here. And then we're going to hug the knees in towards us, giving yourself a little hug, maybe a little rock from side to side or a little circle action with the knees, lifting the head up towards the knees if that feels good. And then slowly lowering your head back down onto the mat. We're going to start to reach the feet up towards the sky, coming into an inversion. So as always, you have choices if you like to bring your hands to the backs of the thighs or sit on your hands, whatever helps make this a little more comfortable. You can also be sitting on a block, or if you're near that wall and you like the wall, go ahead and scooch over, extending your feet up the wall. We're going to hold this for about 7 more breaths. Whenever you've taken those 7 to 10 breaths and you're ready to come out of it, you can slowly bend your knees and then gently place your legs back down on the mat, extending them long, bringing your arms to the sides of your body. We're going to lift up into a fish pose. So you're pressing your forearms into the mat and lifting your upper body. So from your hips up, your chest and your heart are starting to lift up. Kind of think about puffing that chest up. And then you can either look forward at your feet, or if it feels okay, let your head release back. That's not going to feel comfortable for everyone on your neck. So if that doesn't feel comfortable, just keep looking forward. But the idea is I'm kind of opening up this upper heart and chest and throat area. And then you can slowly lower yourself all the way back down onto the mat. One last time, drawing the knees in towards you. This time we'll bring it right into a twist. So your arms can come out to either side as the knees start to release to the right. Think about pressing that left shoulder down into the mat, and then either looking up towards the sky or looking to the left away from your knees, whichever feels more comfortable. Maybe the right hand is on that left thigh, kind of gently massaging it. The eyes can start to close here if that feels comfortable. The breath can start to slow a little bit. Or really just return to any rhythm that feels comfortable, because at this point in the class, you don't necessarily need to be paying attention to your breath anymore. You can kind of just let it move freely through your body. And then slowly the knees draw back through center as you take it over to the left side. Again, right shoulder draws down towards the mat. Maybe you're looking to the right or looking up towards the sky. And then just imagine everything softening here. So relaxing the shoulders, relaxing that right thigh. And then gently drawing the knees back through center. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together on the mat. Let the knees release out to either side. Reclined butterfly pose with your hands. Can be at the sides of your body or on your heart and your stomach, or maybe the inner thighs, wherever it feels comfortable. I'm just taking about 3 or 4 more breaths here. And as you're here, go ahead and take a little scan, like we always do at the end of class, and just see what it is that you still need out of your practice. If it's another pose, you can start to do that final pose now. If it's just a matter of grabbing some socks or a sweatshirt or a sip of water, do those things as well so that you can feel really comfortable as you come into your Shavasana. And then last but not least, decide what pose it is that you want to end your class in. So maybe it's right here. People end in this pose all the time. Other people are not fans. So if this isn't where you want to end, you can start to transition into that final pose now. Maybe just bringing the knees together, keeping the knees bent, the spine nice and flat. Maybe you extend your legs long. Maybe you come onto your side or you sit up. Whatever feels comfortable for you, that is the place that you want to end your practice today. If you haven't done so already, you can close your eyes and just start to melt into your mat. That's really what you're doing here. You're letting go, you're surrendering. Let's even bring our awareness to our feet and really squeeze your feet, almost like you're trying to make little fists with your feet. And then your legs, your knees, your thighs, your calves, your shins, really just squeezing the whole lower half of your body, creating some tightness, creating some tension. And then as you exhale, big exhale, let it all go. Feel that relaxation coming over the legs, the feet, the heels, gently pressing down into the earth. And then bring your awareness to your hands. Start to make fists with your hands, making muscles with your arms. So squeezing your biceps, your triceps, draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Again, tightness, tension, holding on to it for a little while. And then on a big exhale, let it go. Let the shoulders release away from the ears. Let the hands gently open. Maybe they're pressing down into the earth or your palms are facing up. Bring your awareness to your stomach. Start to squeeze your stomach really tight, almost like you're getting ready to do a sit-up. Right, nice, tight, tense stomach. Hold on to it for a moment. And then as you exhale, let it go. Feel that breath starting to again move, that stomach rising and falling as you breathe. You're taking a big breath in and letting it go. And then lastly, bringing your awareness to your face. Start to squeeze your eyes really tightly shut, squeeze your mouth shut, maybe wrinkle your forehead, making a funny face. You can even open your eyes wide for a moment or open your mouth if that feels good, whatever movement feels good for your face. And then eventually relax all the muscles in your face, your jaw, skin around your eyes starts to soften. The back of the head starts to melt into your mat as you completely let go. Letting all of that tension dissolve. If you notice any part of your body where you might need to do this one more time, go ahead and do it again. And then once you feel completely melted, go ahead and just settle there into that Shavasana. Slowly beginning to deepen your breath. Just gently beginning to bring your awareness back to your body. Move your fingers and your toes, your wrists, and your ankles. Taking any stretch that feels good, and that'll depend where you are. Maybe you're bending your knees, maybe you're straightening your knees or reaching your arms overhead. And if you're still lying down, eventually start to make your way onto your right side, coming into a little fetal position with the knees bent, resting your head on your arm. Take these last few moments here on your mat. As always, just letting all of those poses you offered, all the breaths you took to start to settle right in. You kind of created all this stuff and now it's floating all around your mat and you want it to just all settle in so you can absorb all that goodness that you just created. Think of it as kind of filling your cup. So that as you head back out into the world, you're recharged, you're refilled up, and you're ready to take on whatever it is that is in front of you. Whenever you are ready, start to make your way back up to a seated position, slowly pressing yourself up. Eventually bringing your hands to heart center. As always, I am so grateful for you for joining me virtually, bringing your light and your energy and your smiles with you and sharing it with all of us. I hope you have the most beautiful week. Until I see you next week. Namaste. Have a great evening, everyone.